This case study involves the Wexford residents, a long term care and seniors residence in Toronto, Canada. The victim was a female part time janitor of African ethnicity. The incident starts with the punch in protocol at Wexford. All employees were required to swipe punch in when they arrived at work. When Wexford reviewed their punch in systems for the year prior, 2019, they noticed that this employee was consistently arriving late and leaving early from their posted shift schedule. The action of this worker led to the employee getting a written disciplinary warning. This possibly would not have happened if Wexford had training opportunities available for the employees. Many studies have shown that providing training opportunities within a company can lead to a higher job satisfaction, which will lead to the employee being more loyal and becoming more committed to the company that employs them. So, after a month since the written warning was given to the employee, the worker showed up late her shift again. A supervisor took her aside and discussed the issue of her always showing up late, which she admittedly disagreed with. And the supervisor said that he was entitled to ask why she continuously showed up late for the shifts. To which the employee responded that she was tired of this supervisor harassing her. Western News reports that almost three quarters of individuals who took their survey, who had over 4,000 responses, have experienced harassment in the work. So, for the employee to respond in this manner shows the frustration levels with her supervisor and how he approaches this issue. After the incident with the employee and her supervisor, the company CEO called her in for a meeting. The employee said she had arrived 3 minutes early to her shift and added to this by saying she had no reason to lie about when she punches in and out, and she has nothing to gain from lying about this issue. So, after this meeting, the CEO reviewed the security camera footage and found that the employee did arrive 3 minutes early to her shift. But after she clocked in, she left the premises and returned 16 minutes later with a cup of coffee. Seeing the employee's action here led the CEO to review more security camera footage. This led to CEO finding two other occasions where the employee clocked into work and then immediately leaving the premises. There was another instance where the employee clocked in and had a 22-minute conversation with another employee before reporting to their workstation.
After finding multiple instances of the employee not using their time system correctly, the CEO brought the employee back for another meeting to discuss what action should be taken to move forward. The CEO brought up the instance of the morning of her showing up late, and the employee acknowledged not being late or even leaving the premises on any other occasion. The CEO then informed the employee that they had security footage of her leaving the premises along with arriving late and clocking out early. The employee has no response or justification for her leaving after clocking in, arriving late, or leaving early. The response that the employee did not give the CEO showed that they were no longer loyal to the company and could no longer trust the employee's words. Before this meeting, the employee said that the supervisor had sexually harassed her multiple times. She stated that the supervisor had made comment on how he was at work more than he was having sex with his wife. He also commented on how she had a nice ass as she left the supervisor's office, and there was an instance where the supervisor fixed her collar and touched her breast in the process of doing so. Western News survey shows that 2 out of 5 individuals have been sexually harassed inside of the workplace over the past 2 years. The employee specified that she was not sure on the dates that these altercations happened, with her not providing the specific dates and lying on previous issues. This led to the CEO not taking her complaint seriously and not fully believing the employee. Once the meeting with the employee was over, the CEO then set up a meeting to discuss the sexual harassment allegations with the supervisor. The supervisor acknowledged making the sex with his wife comment, and he affixed her collar on one occasion, but he denied saying to the employee that she had a nice ass or that he touched her breast when he fixed her collar. The supervisor was given a written warning for sexual harassment.
On February 14, 2021, the Wexford employee was terminated, and they informed her that the supervisor who harassed her was given a written warning for what he did to the employee. The union board filed for grievance, arguing that the Wexford company should have applied a progressive disciplinary approach, and that the discharge of the employee was a reprisal for the harassment complaint filed in December of 2020. The employee filed for sexual harassment with the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal, providing specific dates of when these incidents happened, and added that the supervisor had said to her that he also liked black women, along with a nice ass comment. The arbitrator in this case found that the worker lied about being late for the scheduled shift, and that the employee tried to mislead the CEO by omitting that she did not leave the building. The arbitrator also found that the supervisor's accusation of her harassing for her lateness was false, because the employee was late and the supervisor had every right to discuss the employee's inappropriate time management skills. The arbitrator decided that the employee knowingly engaged in a scheme to manipulate the company's timekeeping system. The issue presented here with the employee's action was that trust had been broken between her and the Wexford company. Trust between the employee and the employer is essential within all companies. And since the employee had tried to change the narrative of her actions, this compounded the issues within this case, and thus, the arbitrator concluded that the employee-to-employer relationship was irreparably damaged. With the false claims of the employee, the arbitrator claimed that the justification for firing her was due to a breach of trust, and with the evidence provided, this action was justified. With admitting that the CEO and the employee had no concrete evidence of the sexual harassment allegations, only the employee's word, and seeing as how she had lied about her clocking in early and not leaving the premises, it allowed for the CEO to make the decision to let the employee go due to the breach of trust.
The arbitrator accepted 2 out of the 3 sexual harassment allegations, both of which the supervisor acknowledged to doing. The reason why the nicest comment was not considered as sexual harassment was because the employee later on added the other comment about how the supervisor liked black women. With no other witnesses, there was not enough concrete evidence to prove that this altercation had occurred. With the supervisor fixing the collar of the woman's shirt, he denied that he grabbed her breast. But another employee saw the altercation and sided with the woman, stating that he did grab her breast. The supervisor stated that he thought he could fix the employee's collar because the 2 of them were friendly, but the employee considered this action to be inappropriate. The supervisor also acknowledged making the comment about spending more time at work than having sex with his wife. He justified his actions as them being friendly banter. However, the arbitrator sided with the employee and acknowledged that it did make her feel uncomfortable. Policy option states that according to the surveys by the Labour Market Information Council, or LMIC, half of Canadian workers that are in the age range of 25 to 54 years of age want more detailed information on the skills required for specific jobs. Within this case, we can see that the supervisor was not trained or informed of what rights he had within the relationships of the employees. The arbitrator acknowledged Wexford's harassment policy as engaging in a course of vexatious comments or conduct against a worker in a workplace that is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome. Both incidents that the arbitrator deemed to be sexual harassment were unwelcomed by the employee. The arbitrator found that the sex comment was not egregious enough to constitute as harassment. However, the incident with fixing the collar, the supervisor had no right to touch the employee for any reason. So this incident was and is considered as sexual harassment. The arbitrator also found that the Wexford Company did not properly address the employee's sexual harassment complaints. The Wexford Company's harassment policy outlines an investigation, but no investigation was followed. The investigation that did occur was the CEO's conversation with the employee. No investigator was assigned, as their company policy outline stated. The Government of Canada has stated that starting January 1st of 2021, as an employer working in a federally regulated industry or workplace, you should understand the definition of workplace harassment and violence. This policy was not in place when the incident occurred, but we can see that the Government of Canada is taking actions to set up policies so incidents like this one should not be a prevalent occurrence within the Canadian workforce. In conclusion of this case, Wexford was forced to pay the employee $10,000 in general damages for the sexual harassment she endured and $5,000 for not conducting a reasonable investigation of the sexual harassment allegations. This case study highlights the importance of implementing policies that companies need to put in place to prevent sexual harassment within their company. Companies also need to professionally train their employees to follow the policies that are laid out, as no manager or employee in this case followed the sexual harassment policies laid out by the Wexford Company.